All righty, fellas. Welcome in. This is for all the marbles. It's championship week. We got a lot of things to get through. If you guys do want to skip the line for questions, that is pinned. It's the first comment in the chat. I will also drop our weekly rankings manifesto. If you guys have not accessed it yet, it is actually linked in the description of this live stream, and it's also in the pinned comment of my tier list video and a couple other places. But if you do want just a quick answer, who do I start? My rankings were updated less than an hour ago. So I have, Chuba Hubbard going to IR accounted for. I have, et cetera, so on and so forth.
On the weekly rankings manifesto, yes.
Yeah. The only thing that I do need to maybe make an adjustment to is we're getting some Carolina Panthers beat reporters coming out and saying that it could be Mike Boone who gets the majority of the touches instead of Raheem Blackshear without Hubbard.
I don't think either are startable, to be honest.
Okay, let me ask you this. Would you rather start, let's say we get a report before Sunday morning kickoff that one of them is going to carry the bulk of the work, because we are starting to get some reports saying that it's going to be Boone.
Okay, let's hear the question.
Tank Bigsby or Mike Boone?
Not a question. Tank Bigsby.
Okay. Amir Abdullah. Really? Okay. So I would start whoever, let's say it is Boone that is going to be getting the drum beat or whatever. I would start a guy like Boone over those types of options. But if you had to decide, Madison or Javonte Williams or somebody like that, I would definitely start those guys over Blackshear.
I like Abdullah this week for what it's worth. A very, very easy matchup against New Orleans, and we're seeing legitimate receiving usage. I actually like both the Raiders running backs quite a lot this week.
Ugh, said nobody ever.
Hey, you're the Madison guy all year.
Hey, I might be the Madison guy all year, but I only have him. I'm sure you have him higher than me on the week. Part of it is because some guys locked in before.
Where do you have him?
Games. I am at 31.
Yeah, I have him higher. I have Madison at 25. I have Abdullah
25.
Yeah, dude.
Holy shit.
I have him ahead of Pollard, who's banged up because I
have him ahead of Pollard too, but I don't have. I'm assuming you have Garendo behind him. You probably have Kendre behind him.
Garendo
behind him.
Garendo I've had at 20 for a while. I have ETN behind him. I have Swift got locked in behind him, which looks pretty good now. Pacheco, yeah. Pacheco I'm worried about because obviously, he already played, but I had him and Hunt literally back to back. I do have Javonte a little bit lower than you because I do think it's going to be pretty 50-50 between him and Estime. Amir Abdullah, Kendre Miller, I have behind him at 31. Honestly, that's just more. I think Kendre Miller's not very good at football. It's a great matchup, but Kendre Miller's going to be not great at football. It's going to be a committee there, like we saw from Mims, like we saw from who was the other fucking running back here? Jamal Williams.
Yeah, the Raiders matchup is a lot better because it's at home for New Orleans, and they actually might have Olave back for that game too, based on some of the reports that we're hearing. But regardless, I don't think anybody should be starting Raheem Blackshear or Mike Boone or some of these guys in their fantasy championship. I'm sure you have a better wide receiver or whatever on your bench that you could flex. Instead of that. If it sucks if you lost Hubbard, for example, I'm in 4 championships. I have Hubbard in 3 of them, so I'm literally getting screwed there.
Hey, not to disclose too much from the Flock League, but holy fuck, I feel for Thomas. His whole running back core has been decimated.
Does he have Hubbard as well?
He has Hubbard. He has Kamara. He has Montgomery.
Oof.
3 top running backs are hurt.
So I gotta beat Nathan because Nathan on Avery's shirt would be definitely comedy.
That would be fucking hilarious.
It would have been nice if I had just started Mahomes, but Mahomes has been toying with me all year, unfortunately. So that's
dude. Also, we got to talk about this. The week you need him most, one of the most consistent kickers all year gives you a fucking donut.
Yeah, literally. Kaimi Fairbairn consistently 8 to 12 point kicker every single game, and he drops a donut when the Texans have a safety and nothing else on offense. And even opportunities that they had for field goals, it was they turned the ball over in field goal range or whatever, or they went for it on 4th down and didn't get it. It was brutal. But anyways,
it was also wild real quick too, because just specifically for your matchup after the Christmas games, you're feeling very, very good. And then the Thursday night game happened and you got DJ Moore, solid game, but not crazy. Zach Charbonnet disappointing based off the expectation. Also, shout out Lad for the Kenny McIntosh take because he got way more work than people wanted. But more importantly, Nathan fucking Seahawks defense against you just completely shredding.
Annoying as hell. So annoying.
Nothing worse than a defense shredding.
It is literally nothing. When a defense shreds you and your kicker drops 0 points, it's the type of shit that you get Sal talking about getting rid of defenses and kickers out here. But I was going to say something else. BBM, one thing. So I lost Hubbard in 3 of my 4 finals matchups, which is not ideal. I have a pivot to Tracy and Tone Setter, so that's not a big deal. Bush League best ball is I have like a loaded running back course.
Yeah, it's
so
best ball too.
I'm also not that concerned about it. I have Kyron. I had Rashad White. I have Devon Achane. I have like a million other running backs, so I'm not really concerned about it. I did actually sell. I told you about this the other day. I sold what projects to be either the 211 or the 212 and the 111 or the 112 for Chuba Hubbard and the 208, I think it is.
And now that dude doesn't even have
2 days ago. Jacob Sanderson traded me basically a first for like a slight tier down in the second round for Chuba Hubbard, and he won't even get to use Chuba Hubbard, unfortunately, this week.
That is so sad. I feel for him.
He is up in his matchup, though, so it is probably likely the 212 or the 112 that I'm getting, but even still, like I'll take the first round pick. Also, I tried to trade David Gautieri, Rashad White, and he's starting Tony Pollard and Ramondre Stevenson in his flexes, and he's like, Rashad White is not as good of a projection as those guys. I'm like, okay.
He's got some out there takes.
I mean, I get not wanting to trade assets for Rashad White if you think they're similar projections, but to say that they're worse projections to me was wrong. But anyways.
Yeah. No, that was quite the take by Mr. Gautieri. Also, wait,
Pollard, even if he plays, is like not that good of a projection.
Did you see him basically saying that Ladd McConkey is just going to be the next Chris Olave? Like, and he was saying it with a negative, saying it with a negative connotation. First of all, saying it with a negative connotation. Second of all, Chris Olave has been a guy that has paced 1,100 plus receiving yards in each of the last 2 years. It's just unfortunate that he fucking got hurt this year. Like literally his first 2 years in the league, the guy was 1,100 and nearly 1,200 yards with fucking Derek Carr and a dysfunctional Saints system. So even if he's Chris Olave, but Chris Olave on the fucking Justin Herbert-led Chargers offense, is that a bad asset? Chris Olave was a second-round startup pick.
Yeah, no, literally. I don't know what we're doing with Chris Olave being slander. I just got an offer from Lordog in Flock Me Silly. He's in the championship. He just lost Hubbard. So he's offering me either the 111 or the 112 and Hubbard for Devon Achane.
No.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying.
Bro, no.
I mean, that's probably, let's say Hubbard was healthy or whatever. That's probably still not quite enough. As much as I think you could definitely make the argument that, like, think about next year. Like, Brooks isn't going to play next year again. So you can make the argument that Hubbard is probably like a 3rd or a 4th round redraft pick.
I get that, but Devon Achane is a top 3 dynasty running back in top 20.
Oh, I'm not saying I would do the deal. I don't think it's an outrageously bad offer, though.
But no, I get it. But even with the context that Brooks is going to be out, assuming Hubbard was actually even playing this week, Hubbard next year is what, a 5th, 6th round startup pick if you're high projected on him?
A startup pick. Yeah, he's definitely not that much higher.
Well, that's what I mean. So it's like, how much would you pay on top of, let's just say, the 507? He's worth
probably exactly a late first.
Well, that's what I mean. Like, how much would you pay on top of the 507 overall to move up to the 212, which is about where Achane goes? I would easily give up a late.
If you got offered the 507 and a late projected first, 111, 112, you're auto declining that at 212. I don't think it's an auto decline. It made me think for a half second.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't. What's Achane worth in terms of first? I would say probably around the. Well, it really depends.
I would only take McMillan and Genty over him, to be honest.
Well, that's what I mean. He would be somewhere in that 102 to 104 range, because I also think Shedeur needs to be talked about there too. If he goes 101,
whatever quarterback goes high is probably instantly a top 20 dynasty quarterback. So
higher, probably top 15.
Given this quarterback class, you'd be surprised. Dude, QB 20 right now is like Tua.
Sure.
Like,
no,
I would take Tua over Shedeur.
I wouldn't.
I would.
With the history?
All day I would take Tua over Shedeur. I wouldn't even think twice about it.
From a market value standpoint, anything negative that happens to Tua, you lose all of your market value.
Okay, well then substitute Tua with another name in that range. If
JJ McCarthy?
Like Trevor Lawrence or whatever. Would you
JJ
take
McCarthy?
Trevor Lawrence over? Yeah, I would take McCarthy over.
Well, that's what I mean. So like, I agree with that premise, But like Tua specifically, he would be the end of that group specifically because of the concussions that he's dealt with. Because
I'm not as worried about Tua's concussions right now that everybody else seems to be.
I'm not personally as worried, but I know how the market works. And if anything negative were to happen, he would miss time. People would sour on him a lot faster than the first overall pick.
We've said that the last 2 concussions for Tua.
It did happen. Did you see how low his market value got this year?
It did, but like I'm pissed that I wasn't actively buying him at that point in time.
Sure, but at the same time, we've had evidence that the market value has completely cratered.
I guess, but I got a guy who's going to project a lot better next year than he did this year, who's got a massive contract with a good coaching staff. Like, I'm not really concerned. Like, I would take that over Shedeur Sanders any day of the week, to be honest. As much as there's a little bit of risk with Tua, like, I'm not even sure that any of these QBs in this class are good.
I would take Shedeur. But also, shout out Dr. Brian Harris. I actually did see when I did the BBMDB search, he did advance a team to the final as well. So we are both sweating, brother. Good luck. Hopefully you can get a nice little bink. And hopefully at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, whether it's you at 1, us at 2, or us at 1, you at 2, we win some serious fucking cash, baby.
This is also my opinion as well.
I disagree with this.
Who's his ceiling then?
I mean, he's more mobile than Tua in the pocket.
I guess, man. I think you're underrating how good Tua is.
I like Tua for what it's worth, but it's also worth noting that his market. I'm not saying Sanders is going to be a way better quarterback. I'm saying he's a way safer asset, and you can't disagree.
I don't disagree that he's maybe a bit of a safer asset, but not a way safer asset because we at least know Tua is good and has a
knock on wood. Shedeur Sanders has a season-ending injury. His market value is not changing because he's the first overall pick in the draft. If Tua Tagovailoa has a season-ending injury, where does his market value crash to? We've seen it crash before.
Yeah, I would say in the case of injury, you're correct. But we also, that's with the assumption that Sanders is as good as Tua, which is like a top 12 to 15 NFL quarterback with a huge contract, which is like, would be a massive hit if you're the Raiders or the Giants or whatever.
I don't disagree. I'm not saying he's going to be a better player than Tua. Basically, what I'm trying to say is he's a much safer asset.
In year one, he's a much safer asset. But after a year of what we see of Shedeur, like my take on the prospect is that like he could struggle.
Let me pose this question for you. How far in dynasty value right now do you think there is between Bryce Young and Tua Tagovailoa?
How far versus Bryce, did you say?
How far Tua versus Bryce in dynasty market value?
Tua versus Bryce. Honestly, with the way Bryce has played lately, it's probably a toss-up, give or take. I would slightly prefer Tua, but I don't think it's like a huge difference.
Because I don't think it's all that dissimilar. Like Bryce, if Shedeur had a terrible rookie season, that would be the Bryce projection that we're currently on.
It would, but Bryce was a significantly better prospect than Shedeur. I would take Bryce Young in a heartbeat over Shedeur right now. I think Bryce has done enough to cement himself as a top 20 dynasty quarterback, and they're going to have assets to build around him. If Bryce Young was in this draft class, current Bryce Young, he would go first overall, no questions asked.
I think it's easy to say right now, but once that guy goes first overall in the NFL draft, we know that the dynasty community is going to prop him up to a top 25 to 36 overall asset.
Yeah, which I think would be premature, given that we can't, as a dynasty community, say this quarterback class isn't good. And then the second one of them gets drafted, we're like, oh yeah, he's like a top 25 startup pick. It's like, no. If this quarterback class wasn't good, then the ceiling should be like QB 21 to 18, depending on the landing spot. We can't just be like, oh, quarterback class sucks. And then he's like QB 12 on keep trade cut after the draft.
Yeah, no, it's a weird case. Again, I like Sanders.
Same goes for Ward too. I mean, like I think Sanders is.
I like Sanders more than Ward.
I think Sanders is a better prospect than Ward, at least as it currently stands right now. Haven't obviously dug into them more than their sophomore film and stuff, but I can't say that either of those guys are locked in top 20 dynasty quarterbacks, even if they get top 5 to 10 pick capital, which I think they will.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think I like Sanders a little bit more than you do.
I like Sanders quite a bit. I think if we're saying this quarterback class sucks, then his ceiling can't really be higher than Tua's as far as like
I don't think that's fair
right off the bat.
Well, I don't think that's fair either, because again, is Sanders a Drake May, a Caleb Williams? No, but like as a prospect standpoint, I love JJ McCarthy. Like I don't think he's all that dissimilar as a prospect. And then when you're getting,
there is no Minnesota Vikings landing spot. And if JJ McCarthy had gone to any other team, he'd be QB 22 in Dynasty right now.
See, I would disagree, but that's fine. But basically what I'm pointing out is like the whole class is weak, sure. But I think that's more of an indictment on quarterbacks 3 on, because outside of I mean, Jalen Milroe is probably going to be like a top 40, top 50 pick, but he's probably even going to go back to school because
Has he announced yet if he's doing that?
He's playing in the bowl game, I thought, no?
Yeah. Like, so this is the last thing I'll say on this conversation. I have Bryce Young at QB 21 and Michael Penix at QB 22 and Anthony Richardson at QB 23. I don't think that Shedeur Sanders is all that dissimilar from those guys, but at the same time, he should not be ranked ahead of them.
I disagree. I mean, you're getting a fresh slate with a first overall pick pedigree.
Okay, so you want to rank them. These are the names I have immediately ahead. You're telling me you take Shedeur Sanders over Dak Prescott, Trevor Lawrence, Tua Tagovailoa, JJ McCarthy, and Jared Goff?
He'd be right there with Tua. That's where I said it.
I have Tua at 18, so you must have Tua lower than me.
I do. I have him at 21. But I also have so the way it would work for me is I have Dak a little bit higher than you, obviously. Brock Purdy.
No one's shocked by that.
Brock Purdy, JJ at 17, Trevor Lawrence at 18. Penix is at 19 right now. He would probably slot in right between Lawrence and Penix. So he'd be my quarterback 19 in Dynasty.
Yeah, no, I would take Lawrence over him. I would take Bryce over him. I would take Penix over him. And I would probably take Sanders over Richardson, given like that Richardson's like maybe having one of the worst completion percentage seasons we've ever seen. So then when you talk about like Sam Darnold or Geno Smith or something, that's like, yeah, I would take Shedeur Sanders over those guys.
Yeah, I think you have to take him over A-Rich at this point based on the potential risk that they move on.
Yeah, but at the same time, Richardson still does have the
elite
upside that he climbs all the way up in dynasty value again.
I mean, for what it's worth, I like him better than this quarterback, but it's almost hilarious how I was full Justin Fields and you were anti Justin Fields. And now it's like you're higher on Anthony Richardson.
Oh, I'm definitely not higher on Anthony Richardson than you.
Long term, because
I'm not high on him at all, to be honest. I think there's a lot more. There's tons of people that are high on Anthony Richardson. Still,
yeah.
And I'm not one of them.
Yeah. No, I learned a little bit more from Fields in the sense that, like, at the end of the day, you just need certain intangibles to play the quarterback position. You do.
And Richardson, for what it's worth, has been objectively a lot worse than Fields, too.
Yeah. No, I was actually talking about this with Brock. So hypothetically, with Anthony Richardson, he was 2022 drafts, correct?
Yeah, 23.
2023, sorry. My apologies. So we're talking about 2023, 2024, 2025. That would be 3 years. 2026 would be the fourth year. By then, in 2026, you're going to know whether he's the guy or not.
Oh, he will not get through next year if he plays like this. He'll get benched before midseason next year if he plays the way he's been playing.
But that's
I know he had a good game last week, and he's had a couple good games, but there's no way he gets through 2025 without competition. In my opinion.
That's what I mean. Like 2026 would be his final year on the roster, and by then you'll have known: is he going to be starting that last year, which is probably going to be the answer no, or do we have to draft a quarterback in the 2026 class? How ironic would it be if after drafting A-Rich, they just draft the more polished version of A-Rich with Lenore Sellers in 2026?
I don't know. You seem to be the only person who likes Lenore Sellers.
Buddy, you got to fucking search around. He's consensus talked about as the top 2026 quarterback. Everybody's talking about it.
That's cool. I mean, isn't Arch
just
in this class?
I mean, he's got to start first.
Yeah, but even if he's only a 1 year starter, I think he would easily be the consensus QB1.
Lenore is a fucking guy, dude. I'm telling you, he's a guy.
I agree, by the way. If we have to have this,
I agree.
Richardson, he should be a sell because the way, here's like this is not debatable. This is how the quarterback position works in the NFL. 1/3 of the NFL, every single offseason has to have the question, are we having the quarterback change or not? Every single offseason, there's 1/3 of the NFL saying, do we have the right guy or not? And Richardson, you cannot tell me, is a top 2/3 of the NFL quarterback right now.
No, he's like quarterback maybe 27, 28 in the league right now. Let's be real. Yeah, well, and Brock also says here, Fields also scrambles more than A-Rich, which is, it is funny considering like I feel like A-Rich could scramble more, but then again, a lot of his work has been design work. Like we've seen even on the goal line, once they're inside the 5, we're seeing quarterback power, we're seeing quarterback sweep, we're seeing a lot more uses in that regard. But I do agree with Brock. It's like the actual scramble creation hasn't been as what we expected coming into the league.
Not only that, but dude, Fields is a way better passer than Richardson. And Fields is not a good passer, but he is a way better passer than Richardson, dude. Fields was a way better prospect, had a way better profile, and had a pretty decent enough second season to the point that we all convinced ourselves that, he could be the next Jalen Hurts. Like, he showed us enough in his second year to think that he could take a third-year leap. And it's not to say that Richardson can't take, a third-year leap either. It's just like it would take
a lot more ground to make
very,
up.
very large projection. Like, you're talking Josh Allen second to third year, like, type of projection, which I'm not comfortable saying about Richardson because at least, like, Allen had way more moments in his first 2 years.
Yeah, I agree.
Anyways, we should get to these questions here.
Yeah, we should. Nico and JSN sold me, and I lost CD. Ooh, tough spot.
Yeah, man, having that good of a team
and you're going to be without Njoku, so go to that tight end spot and take him the heck out of there.
Yeah, I mean, I hope he has a tight end option that he can pivot to here because he doesn't have one listed at the moment. In the flex, which direction are you going here? Tracy. I would definitely lean with Tracy as one of them.
And Jalen McMillions.
You're going McMillan over. Is Waddle going to play?
Doesn't matter. I have McMillan as my top 30 wide receiver for me this week.
Okay. I think that's definitely a fair assessment. I would consider it relatively close if Waddle were to play. I think he's a decent shout there. But yeah, if you're down points right now, Nico and JSN sold you. That's the only reason I say Waddle might be the guy that gives you the higher ceiling to McMillan. I think Waddle, we know what the Dolphins' offensive ceiling is on any given week.
Sure, but also it's not great weather in Cleveland to expect it to be.
Yeah, that's true. And then with the Bucs, you have Florida weather, so you probably fine.
Nemesis, I actually did your team review and sent it to you in the DMs yesterday, so hopefully you're able to see that on the site because I did link that to you.
Yeah, this is hilarious to me because Mountain Man Mike asked this question. I'm down Hurts in 3 out of 4 finals, one of which he's facing me in.
Yeah.
He's like, talk floor ceiling weather for all of these quarterbacks. So I think this is an important topic to talk about here because there is a lot of people down Jalen Hurts this week. So of the quarterbacks he listed, I think most of these guys are widely available. He's got Drake May, Matthew Stafford, Bryce Young, Anthony Richardson / Flacco listed here. Who's number one of that group for you?
Back-to-back quarterback 13 and 14 in my rankings this week. It would be May and Young in that order.
Okay, so ironically, we just spent a bunch of time talking shit about him. I think Richardson's the best option this week against New York, man.
I didn't see Richardson. I was more so
assuming
thinking
he plays,
Flacco,
of course, because he didn't practice Thursday or Friday.
Right. If Richardson plays, he's my quarterback 6 on the week. Sorry, my apologies. I actually did not even see Richardson at the end there. I saw Flacco. The reason why I say that at this point, I have Richardson in a championship that I'm starting in this week. I don't think he's going to play, so I did pick up Bryce Young. Unfortunately, I did want to pick up Drake May, but it's not like you can play Drake May because he plays on Saturday. He plays
in 30 minutes.
It's like, I personally, the way I'd play it, like I said, I have Bryce Young one spot after Drake May in my rankings. I would leave Anthony Richardson in my lineup. If Anthony Richardson is out, you set the auto sub for Bryce Young. Also, where do you check the DMs? It should be listed in the. It should just be sent right back to you, no?
Yeah, if you go to your you should have messages that come from us on your Flock fantasy profile, and you should be able to see it there. If you go to where you submitted your team, it should be just located there.
Yeah, let me take a look for you,
but anyways, my answer to this question isn't really all that different. Like, I would play Richardson, assuming he has assuming he plays. If you are worried about Richardson not playing, I suppose you could go with Matthew Stafford or Drake May. I actually have Stafford the second highest of this group because I like the matchup against Arizona. I like the matchup for Puka. I like the matchup for Kupp. I do think that they could have a big performance here. And also that does give you a little bit more time because Stafford doesn't play till 8 o'clock tonight. Maybe you get more information on Anthony Richardson's status for week 17. So that would be maybe how I play it is aim to start Stafford. And then if you have enough,
I have Stafford way lower.
Okay, so I don't. I have Richardson at 11. I have Stafford at 14. I have Drake May at 15. And then I have Caleb and Mahomes both locked in ahead of Bryce Young for me. So
you're way too low on Bryce Young this week.
I like Bryce Young this week.
He really carved up your defense the last time they played, and you guys are a pass funnel defense, and they don't have Chuba Hubbard. You need to have Bryce Young higher.
I think them not having Chuba Hubbard has a bigger impact on the offense than it does on Bryce Young just being a stud.
You guys are a pass funnel defense to begin with.
They also are missing, like, isn't Thielen questionable for the game and Leggett out?
Leggett's questionable, but Jalen Coker is going to be playing.
Okay, but I'm pretty sure Leggett's not questionable. I think he's out.
I thought he was questionable. At least that's what it showed up for me.
He's on IR, I'm pretty sure.
No, because I was literally setting my rankings today, and it showed up that I can add him in. He had a Q behind his. Yeah, he had a Q beside his name. when I was going through it.
What the hell? Raccoon meat is the fucking...
Yeah, dude, he was literally eating raccoon meat.
That's wild. Okay,
What-
so
what-
he is
what-
actually listed questionable. I don't know why he's not in my rankings. I assumed
Yeah.
he was on IR because he's not in my ranking.
Real quick, by the way, I was trying to show this, but we were talking. Sorry, I couldn't really go back and forth. So Nemesis, if you go on Flock, where you submitted the question, or sorry, where you submitted the team review, I just sent you the message. I sent you the link here. So check your messages. It will show up as messages. I sent it to you right in those DMs. So I did that yesterday, probably in the morning, give or take. So hopefully you are able to find it. If you have any issues, feel free to reach out to me on Twitter, DannyFootball59 on Twitter. And if you need that sent to you, I can just link it to you right in the DMs if it's not working for you.
Yep. Yeah,
Just making sure he's covered. Now, with that being said, yeah, I have both those young quarterbacks over Stafford this week. And on top of that, I think Anthony Richardson is worth enough waiting for, to the point where I would rather just play Bryce Young in that spot. I have him literally over Stafford.
Okay. Yeah, that's totally fine with me. That's a fair direction. Also, for what it's worth too, because he doesn't list these guys, but if anybody else has the similar like questions about the quarterback position, I do think that the premier guy that's available right now in a lot of people's leagues are Herbert and Purdy, because Herbert's got a great matchup today and Purdy's in a 50 over under game on Monday. So you could go with either of those two guys, and I would actually play both of them over Richardson as of right now.
Yeah. Wait.
And I doubt Darnold and Love and Nix.
You play both of them over Richardson?
I would, given the injury, because we don't know at this point in time. Herbert. I'm just saying, if you have to decide Herbert or Richardson right now, and you don't know if Richardson's playing, I would just play Herbert.
I think there's good enough options that I would rather pick. Like I said, I have Bryce Young way higher than you. I have Bryce Young at quarterback 14 this week.
Yeah, no, that's definitely fair. That's just the way I would handle it personally.
I mean, Bryce Young's been running, and we literally saw him put up numbers against you guys in the last game that you guys played. You guys are a pass funnel defense. He is missing Chuba Hubbard.
You have convinced me to move Stafford down a little bit because he has absolutely no floor because he doesn't run. And I'll move Bryce Young up a little bit as well.
Yeah, Nemesis, it should show there. Please let me know that it worked for you. Hopefully you're able to get that review. Want you to be fully set for your championship game. And of course, on the site, if you have any other specific questions that weren't in the initial review, feel free to leave them. We'd be happy to help you out.
Yep, for sure. So yeah, that's how we kind of handle the QB position. If you guys do have Hurts out this week, Kyler/Bryce. So you're definitely going Murray over Bryce Young this week.
Yeah, I have Kyler at 11. I have Kyler at 11. I have Bryce at 14. I would still go Kyler.
Yeah, and you're starting McBride. I mean, you have Thielen, I guess, too. But if you're starting McBride, like Kyler's, first of all, I'm going to make the bold prediction. This isn't really
no worries, Nemesis. No worries, brother.
I'm going to make the bold prediction that McBride finally fucking finds the end zone this week.
I hope not.
He's scoring.
I hope not for our fucking what's his rostership in BBM? It's probably pretty high considering how weird tight end was this year.
I mean, maybe, but I don't think he would kill us if he scored.
Oh, if he scored, I thought you said he was going to have a masterclass. My bad.
Oh, he could have a masterclass too, but I think he's going to finally score because he hasn't scored all year.
Oh, that's what you're talking. Sorry, my apologies. I thought you were about to say, yeah, he's going to go blicky. He's going to have 35 fantasy points.
No, listening is crucial.
Yeah, no, fair play.
Okay, so yeah, I think this is a pretty cut and dry decision. I like Bryce this week, but you definitely got to go Kyler in that. Yeah. That decision there, Scoobies. Refresh here. Do we have any other questions that came in? Okay, we did get a couple more here. We got Kitty FS. Is AJ Brown startable with Hurts out, Connor or JK? Okay, so AJ Brown is definitely still startable. I saw you had a 72% first read target share.
I talked about that in my wide receiver rankings video. He's still my wide receiver 10 this week. I understand there is concern, not only that Hurts is out, but also that Kenny Pickett is dealing with a rib injury. So there is concern there, absolutely. However, like you said, 72% first rate target share with Kenny Pickett. At the end of the day, I really took out the Kenny Pickett starting on my Devontae Smith ranking. I have Devontae Smith buried in my rankings this week. We're talking about fringe top 40 level wide receiver with Kenny Pickett starting this week. But I have AJ Brown still high because I think he can support one receiver. I just have questions as to if he can support two.
Yeah, exactly. And then also a couple people have asked, why can't I leave a super chat? If you guys haven't, tuned in for a while and you're in your championship, go to the very first comment of the live stream. You can leave super chats via the site. That's how we're answering them right now. We did turn super chats off via YouTube because you guys are paying YouTube's bills. when you submit those because they take such a big share of those. And then Connor or JK. Do you have Connor higher than Dobbins this week, or do you?
For sure.
It's actually not that big of a difference for me because both of them are coming into
wide.
the game with some injury concern. But I have Connor ranked a little bit conservatively. I have him at like 18 or 17.
Okay, yeah, you have him a lot lower than me. I have him at 13 this week.
Yeah, I'm worried. I feel like it's copium to just throw him up there just because
I don't think he'd be
on our BBM team.
I don't think he'd be playing if he was like that injured.
Yeah, I get that. I just think I have Dobbins at 21, so like it's not that big of a difference.
I have him at 24.
Yeah. I think Dobbins, like if you go to Vegas projections, like Dobbins is like minus 125 to score today. Like they're not really worried about it at all.
Yeah, fair. I still trust my boy James Conner.
All right. Other question from Kitty FS here. We got a lineup set. I think this is the same team by the looks of it. Yeah, it looks like the same team because he has AJ Brown in here. It's a start 7. So how many players you got? That's 2 running back, 2 wide receiver, and a flex.
Yeah, should be 2.
I mean, he doesn't have a tight end listed here. But...
Yeah. So that would be start 7. So that would be 2 running backs, 2 receivers, and a flex. So I'm assuming he just wants to ask us how we would set his lineup. Jahmyr Gibbs obviously is your main starter at running back. I would still have James Conner as my RB2 there. I'm assuming you agree.
And then I would go St. Brown, AJ Brown, Evans as the 2 wide receiver and the 1 flex, right?
Let me take a look where
I have London the lowest of this group of wide receivers.
I have it. My order would be Amon-Ra, Evans, London Brown, because London Brown back to back. But if you wanted to play AJ Brown, I'd be totally cool with that.
You have London ahead of AJ Brown?
It's more pro London than anything. I really do feel like the Atlanta Falcons and Michael Penix are going to have a big time game on Sunday Night Football.
Maybe I'm biased here, but I think the Commanders are going to wipe them.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Anyways, if you can start another player, because he doesn't list a tight end here, so maybe it's some janky scoring format, you would get London in your lineup then regardless. But that's the way we would handle that. Daniel has Chargers D or Miami listed here. So you got Chargers defense against the Patriots on the road today, or you got Miami's defense on the road in Cleveland tomorrow. I think I like Miami's defense more there. DTR is pretty fucking bad.
I don't want to play a defense against Drake May, respectfully.
No, neither do I. I think Drake May and the Chargers, like the Chargers stream of a defense is like not a bad call because they make a lot of games like really slow scoring and Drake May can quarterback. He could turn the ball over, but I'm way more scared of Drake May than DTR.
But if I'm not mistaken, the main thing for defensive scoring is sacks, and like Drake May is one of the best out of structure quarterbacks in the NFL this year. Yeah, and DTR also like leaves the lineup once a game, it feels like, and you got one bad hit away from Jameis starting, and we all know what Jameis means to fantasy defenses. So you go Calamari.
Yeah, go Kyler Murray there. Sorry, I almost said it like you.
And then
Breece Hall, Garendo versus Dowdle there. I got Breece Hall pretty considerably ahead of the rest of these guys.
Breece.
And then wide receiver, Olave could play this week, but he's not in this decision for me. I have Adams slightly higher than McConkey at the moment. Even though Adams is coming in a little bit banged up, I still feel pretty good about his projection here. And then I would go with McConkey. I guess you play McConkey in this spot because he's the...
Right. You could do... Okay, so I technically have Higgins and... Wait, actually, let me take a look.
I have Higgins a little bit lower than Adams and McConkey simply because Higgins is entering the game with an injury and he is expected to see shadow coverage from Surtain.
So I have Higgins one spot higher than McConkey, but because you don't know fully on his, like, again, he's expected to play in. Adams is off the injury report if I recall.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be really all that concerning. Okay. And you have pivot options if Adams is off the, like you could pivot to Garendo or whatever if you needed to.
I'm not capitulating. T. Higgins is literally back to back with McConkey. So
and here's the other thing that's a sneaky underrated thing for McConkey today. This is the team that could have drafted him, the Patriots. I do think we could see
they should have drafted him for what it's worth. They should have
drafted him. I do think they could really get up for this one. Also, speaking of could have drafted and should have drafted, can you imagine if Malik Neighbors was on this team? On the Chargers right now? Can you imagine if they had just taken Malik Neighbors instead of Joe Alt?
I can't lie. I think looking back on it, they did the right thing.
I mean, Joe Alt has been good, and
Joe's been really good in
round. It definitely makes some sense there. But
if you know you're going
from a fantasy perspective, how great Neighbors have been on this team. Like Neighbors is literally a wide receiver 1 this year on the worst team in the NFL, or one of the worst teams in the NFL. Had he been a Charger, he probably would have been like an early second round redraft pick, but I still think he would be crushing that ADP, to be honest.
The way I look at it is I I think regardless of what happened, knowing Jim Harbaugh, he wanted at least a tackle and a receiver in the first 2 picks. And obviously, if you're taking opportunity bundles, I think Joe Alt plus Lyle McConkey is probably the best combo you could have gotten in the first 2 rounds. Because say you take Neighbors, like what tackle are you taking at that spot in the second?
I don't remember who was in the tackle class enough to know that decision. Will he taken Kingsley Suamataia or something?
Fuck.
It was probably the smart decision. I just think from a fantasy perspective, selfishly, it would have been really fun to have Malik Neighbors on the Chargers. And for what it's worth too, McConkey then would have been on the Patriots probably. Or maybe he's on they probably did they take Polk straight up over him? They did take Polk over him, didn't they?
They took Polk 3 spots behind him, but if you recall,
so they didn't have a chance to draft Ladd.
No, but if you recall, didn't they trade the pick to the Chargers?
They did, yeah. They traded down. You're right. They traded down.
Wasn't it with the Chargers who then took Ladd?
Yeah. They traded up for McConkey, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, so the Patriots had the Ladd pick and they traded it to the Chargers.
They should have just picked him for fuck's sake. Yeah. They traded 35. Yeah, they traded 35, and that's where Ladd went.
And real quick, exactly this, because he's saying Kingsley Suamataia, Patrick Paul. Yeah, because if you guys recall, 6 or 7 tackles went in the first round. So
yeah,
if you could,
they started the run with Alt at 5 or whatever, right? So
hey, it worked out.
It did indeed. Anyways, that is how we would set that one, Daniel. Yep. And let's rip if we got any other ones. I think we are all good. Yeah, it looks like we're all caught up on site questions. Again, if there's any, if you guys have specific questions, throw them in the chat right now. If it's a specific player you're worried about, I heard a lot of J.K. Dobbins. I'll let you guys know where I have him, just because I saw a lot of people asking about him. J.K. Dobbins, I have at 21. I would start him over Rico Dowdle this week. I would start him over Tyrone Tracy this week, over Ramondre Stevenson this week, DeAndre Swift and some of those guys that already played, Travis Etienne, Kendre Miller, Isaac Guerrero, although that one could change depending on Guerendo's health. I am projecting he probably ends up playing.
Whoa.
So I might move him up a little bit. What's going on?
Lord Dog just traded Hubbard plus the first for Jonathan Taylor.
Oh, so the same offer he sent to me about...
breaking news as well.
Antonio Gibson's going to start?
Yeah. I got to adjust the rankings now.
Well, that's kind of annoying. 12 minutes before kickoff?
That's such a Patriots thing to do.
Also, I need to text David Gautieri again and see if he still wants to...
That is crazy.
I offered David Gautieri, Rashad White, and Jacobs 211 or 212 for Brandon Ayuk. That was the offer that I sent him because he needs a production piece this week.
Where do you land on Gibson in your rankings, by the way?
So Gibson's going to start. I would move him. First of all, he would be below where I had Stevenson because Stevenson's just better than him.
I see that. I factored in the possibility Stevenson loses work in my rankings. He was 28 for me.
He wasn't in for mine. I am definitely going to move him down though now. So for me, I would put Gibson. I would probably start. I don't really think he's that great of a projection, if I'm being honest. So I'd probably start him at 28 or 29.
Yeah, the question I was going to ask, funny enough, I have him at 28. I was going to ask you Gibson or Travis Etienne this week.
I would rather start Etienne for sure. Not even.
I had Etienne at 30 because Swift got locked in at
I put Gibson at 31, but Pacheco and Warren locked in right ahead of them for me. So he would be right behind Madison, who I have at 28.
Yeah. Okay. Fair. Yeah. By the way, I will make sure that is all updated in both the weekly rankings manifesto as well as on the site.
I got to make sure that I don't have Stevenson in my tone setters lineup because he is on my team. So I just lost fucking Stevenson and Chuba Hubbard in the course of 2 seconds. I wasn't playing Stevenson anyways. Thankfully, I did trade for Ridley from you, though, because that is looking like a smarter decision now that Hubbard is out and Stevenson is not going to start.
Got you. Sorry, I just saw an offer that made me go like this.
That trade I made with you, Danny, actually really helped me out.
I got you, bro. I got you.
All right. I made one last rankings update. If you guys want to know where we have Stevenson now, it is linked in the starred. I believe the comment should be starred where we have the weekly rankings manifesto. It's also linked down below in the description of this live stream. So if you have Stevenson, you're scrambling, who should you start over him or whatever, you can definitely check that out. I will star it right here. It's just a Google Doc that's on the screen there. You guys can go back and find it. I dropped it in there at 12:11 p.m. But yeah, this is I gotta see if David Gauthier wants to trade for him now.
Good luck with that.
If I can pull off a Rashad White in a late second for Brandon Ayuk on a tanking team, I will feel very good about myself, considering I just traded Hubbard for a first yesterday or 2 days ago.
Yeah, I know you're cooking there. Yeah, dude. As long as I win like at least half of my freaking
Honestly, I could lose all my titles as long as we win some serious cash in BBM.
Bro,
I'll be happy.
Dude,
I'll take all 4 of my titles losing if we win.
I'll take all 6 of my
titles each or something.
I'll take all 6 of my titles losing if it means we banked big. I'm not gonna lie.
I'll take 15 grand. We don't need anything huge. Yeah. Just like get us in the top 50. I believe we would walk away with like 10, 15 grand.
Yeah, dude. Also, I mean, if we're thinking about it, all our marbles rely upon that Vikings-Packers game shooting out. If you recall, last time they played, it was what, 31
It was the game you needed. It was literally the game you needed in Week 17 last year.
Last year too, but even freaking when they played earlier this year, it was a 31-29 game, and if you recall, Dontavion Wicks had a huge one in that. So let's just play. Calm down. We do need huge. Yeah, I agree, Spicy. I think Bush is just trying to say he's happy regardless of the situation, as long as we got like a solid non-minimum beat.
I'm not going to be greedy here and say that we need to come in first.
I would love it though. It would feel
we would
fantastic.
All love it, of course. The first thing I would. Let's have some fun pie in the sky stuff here, Danny. What's the first thing you buy if we walk away with 500K American each?
Yeah.
What's the first thing you'd buy?
If
we walked at a 500K American each is what we clear. I mean, obviously would be
after taxes would probably be 500K.
We walk away with 400 Canadian.
You think it'd be 400? I thought it'd be 500 Canadian now.
500? No, we're not going to get. We're going to get taxed like a lot. Probably.
It'd be 720K USD, or sorry, 720K Canadian.
Spicy's going to lose 30% of it off the top for the WBEN that he puts up. I'm pretty sure.
I know, but I'm saying 500 US is about $720,000 Canadian. You think we'd be taxed off 320K each?
I mean, probably not, but let's just say conservatively, it's 400K that we walk away with.
I mean, fuck, I would take 400K.
Yeah, I would do disgusting things for a crisp 20 right now.
First thing I'm doing is 300 plus of it is going into some type of investment. Am I fucking putting it down?
Oh, that's such a lame answer. What are you buying? I said.
What am I buying? I mean, I gotta be flat up. I'm trying to. First thing I'm doing, hopefully IRS isn't watching this, is trying to fucking cut that down as much as I can to fucking eliminate the taxes on it.
I mean, the IRS has nothing to do with it. It would American taxes would mainly be on Spicy's end, and then we just split what's ever left. He's taking the brunt of it for sure.
For sure.
But obviously, we've accounted for that. So. Bretton Strange.
I mean,
the first thing I would buy is definitely whoever got us there. Like we get a 30 bomb from Dontavian.
Yeah, we're getting that
jersey. You know what I mean? Like that's what's happening for sure.
Shut up. Eddie just comes in. He's like, "Oh wait, my bad. The Cowboys. LOL. Goodness. Okay."
Yeah, I would. I think I'm probably gonna buy a Mercedes if that happens, because that's my dream. That's always been my dream car since I was a kid, to own a Mercedes. So the second I get a Mercedes Benz, that's the dream. But also, I'm currently renting my house right now, so I would probably.
I'm currently living in my mom's house, so
yeah, I would probably stow away a very good amount to get a down payment on a house here. Or conversely, my fiance is a Mexican citizen. I could buy a condo in Mexico, and we have a summer place or a winter place to go to. And also, too, we could run an Airbnb in the place when we're not there. So
my audio just completely glitched in my ear as you said Airbnb. Did you see me shake? No, it's not your fault.
That didn't happen to everybody.
No, it's definitely my headset.
Danny's buying a Cowboys themed house.
Cowboys man cave. It's just a ball pit of a bunch of like freaking wins in history. There's like a ball of like each fucking one of their wins.
It's not a lot of balls, Danny.
Oh, chill. They're literally the most winning team in fucking NFL history.
Are they?
They're up there. Let me see.
Definitely. That can't be right.
Most wins NFL history. They're up there.
This is so funny. Look at Arthur's.
Yeah, dude. The Cowboys Wait, hold up. Cowboys have the highest win percentage in NFL history. Yeah, 576. It's just the Packers have played 500 more games, but the Cowboys have the highest win percentage in NFL history.
That's horrible. That's
fucking
also,
asshole.
Henny, I'm not a Jets fan, brother. I'm a football historian. I like Joe Namath. I've seen 2 championships from my team in my lifetime. Tampa Bay Buccaneers is my team.
That's a good point, too.
Yeah, please get a new goddamn mouse. That should be the first. You should have that already. Do you get any Christmas money, Danny?
I plead the fifth.
Go get a goddamn mouse before I snap. I like my women like I like my food. Mexican. That's elite.
Matthew said okay, yeah, we got it right now. Let's get these handled because there's 4 minutes.
Buy a camera that doesn't die so much. Danny, first of all, me and Danny have the same fucking camera. He just doesn't plug his in properly.
Well, for what it's worth, when it died on the last stream, literally we had a 2+ hour call / recording with Mason. So like it makes sense.
Yeah. Anyways,
let's get
Stevenson for JK with this recent news. I would have done that before the news,
yes.
brother.
All day, baby. Give me JK.
Hopefully, this is not against me that he's asking this. Actually, it's a best ball league that we're against each other. So,
dude, Corey's asked me questions on who to start against me multiple times in the past. Shout out, Corey. Appreciate it, Eddie. Appreciate it.
Oh, he is.
We try to have fun. We try to have some fun. Need one for the flex. Ooh.
Okay, well, I won't be Stevenson now.
Who's it going to be then? Douglas?
Would have been Stevenson before.
Full PPR Douglas? It's not Kyle Pitts. Get your fucking mouse off of Kyle Pitts before I snap.
I have no idea what the right answer is here.
Get your mouse off of Kyle Pitts. He's never the answer.
Let me check. Hold on. Let me check Douglas's. Dude, Douglas is running like 55% of the routes, bro. It can't be Douglas.
Can't be any of these guys right now, bro.
You guys all suck.
Okay, that was a little harsher than I would have put it.
They do.
You're not wrong.
Like, if we're going by usage here, the answer is probably Juwan Johnson.
But he's also just urine.
Ugh. Like, I mean, Kyle Pitts has single-digit PPR points since, like, October.
Since fucking National Tight Ends Day, buddy's been useless.
Yeah, literally. Since National Tight Ends Day, he's been terrible.
I love how Zach Robinson just baited the entire fantasy community with a little bit of usage, and then boom. Also, Matthew says it's a tight end premium.
I'm going Juwan Johnson here.
I'm cool with it. A bunch of urine. If he gets 4
gross.
catches, you're good.
And, like, it makes me sick saying this, but like I know because we're not saying to play Kyle Pitts, this would be the one good game he has because he's just that irritating.
Dude, it's like, on Sunday Night Football. He's about to catch a fucking 60-yarder.
Is Kyle Pitts the most irritating fantasy football asset in the history of the NFL?
I don't even recall
I can't recall anybody worse.
Yeah, dude, Arthur Smith knew ball when you said Jonnu over Kyle Pitts, and everybody hated on him for it.
Yeah, he did. Like, what? Is there a worse tight end in NFL history that has been more annoying than Kyle Pitts?
Flex. Jerome Ford.
I have Rachaad White higher.
Where do you have each of them respectively?
Or no, I do not have Rachaad White higher. I'm capping. They are back-to-back in my rankings. Given the rest of this lineup, this is a very strong team.
18 Ford versus 22 White for me.
I think so. You might disagree with this statement. This is just my personal opinion. Given the Browns' struggles on offense, I think the floor play is White.
I don't disagree, but the one thing I will challenge you on that with
standard though.
The one thing I will challenge you on that with though is we have already heard Liam Cohn talking about how much of an issue ball security's been, and who's the only one that's been fumbling? Rachaad White.
Bucky Irving fumbled the game away too.
Did he?
Against Atlanta.
Oh, my apologies then. I'm just thinking of the one against the Cowboys, which I'm sure that's bringing you back to Nom.
It is. In a standard league, hear me out. Is Jaden Reed better than Jerome Ford this week in that game environment?
Jerome Ford.
Okay, I'm cool going Jerome Ford, but I really do like I like Jaden Reed this week, to be honest.
Yeah.
Hopefully, Dontavian Wicks has all the points. You know what would be great for us? There's 7 touchdowns total scored by the Green Bay Packers. Josh Jacobs has 4. Jordan Love to Dontavian Wicks is the other 3. That would be beautiful on our end.
I would love
that. And 3 of Josh Jacobs' touchdowns are receiving touchdowns because then we'd get 6 from Jordan Love.
Also, here, so we can move on. We got that. Let me make sure. Boom. Okay, we're all caught up on the site. It is 1 p.m. The last thing I will say is, you know how we were saying coming into the week, like, oh yeah, we'll track how the team would have done in the finals. So that team that I lost out on a BBM by 4.8 points.
Don't do it, dude. It's pain.
No. I'm saying this from a good perspective.
Oh, okay.
Because some of the players on that team were like chalk that didn't fail, including JSN was a big one I had on that team. He obviously fucking crashed and burned on Thursday night. Sorry for you guys that also had him playing. Like I was going through that. Who were the other guys?
You had Hubbard on that team, didn't you?
No, I had JSN that already played would have needed a huge Hunter Henry game this week today. So we'll monitor what Henry does. If he has a dud game, that would actually be pretty good for my mental. And then it's only a 1 quarterback build with Jaden Daniels. So
yeah,
it's a very volatile team.
Also, Arthur, we are doing a stream tomorrow. We'll be live, usual time for Sunday kickoff. And I saw Isaiah ask us a million times. Don't usually answer these questions, but go with I'd personally go with Ridley in the revenge game against Jacksonville, but Brian Robinson's not a bad play either. Okay. Anyways, game is about to kick off. Hopefully you guys get some good production here and you guys win your championships. And also, since Quan said please, I'll give him a one.
I noticed
go with
that.
Connor here.
James Conner.
But yeah, appreciate you guys for joining us. Weekly rankings are up to date. So if you guys do have other questions, we didn't get to them, head to the link in the description of this live stream. You can see our weekly rankings there. We'll update them again one more time before tomorrow's kickoff, and we'll be live around 11:45 Eastern. So good luck, James Conner, prayer circle, 3 touchdowns. That's what we need. Let's go. Let's ride. Take it easy, fellas.